Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today is day 8 in our 7 days of easy Christmas cards because we wanted to do at least a couple more. I hope you'll stay tuned. So today we're going to be making one that's all glitter. And if you remember this technique, I saw it at the last stamp show I was at, and I said, I have to do this. And man, is it a lot of fun, and boy, do I get glittery. I'm like a little twinkly fairy when I'm done. So I hope you'll play along with me this time. This one is completely done. On the inside, I just used a die cut of Merry Christmas, and it's a pretty little snowman. I love him. I'm so excited. Can't wait to show you how to do this. So here's how I did it. I took a piece of cardstock, and this, of course, is covered with a little bit of glitter because, you know, the problem I have with that. But anyway, and I use carpet tape. Now, a lot of people use the tape, the double-sided tape that you can buy that goes with, you know, that's made specifically for this. But you know me. I'm all for, let's see if we can do it a cheaper way. And this is a cheaper way. I went to my local hardware store and said I need double-sided carpet tape, and they said, sure, it's right over here. And I think this great big roll was like $6. Maybe it was more than that. I might be making that up. But anyway, that's what I did. So you're going to want to make sure, and I'm going to show you the way I did it, and it's kind of crazy, but this is how I did it. I lined it up so that I'm holding on to the end of the carpet tape, and I'm just going to lay it down so it's right on the edge. I hope you can see that. And then I pressed it down. And then I flipped the top edge over like that. That way I'll be able to rip that back off easily. You know, when you need to take the backing off, sometimes that can be tricky. And I decided, let's make it easier than that. And that's how I did it. So then I'm going to do the same here. I'm just going to cut about maybe ½ an inch to an inch of carpet tape and leave it like that, and I just bend it over like that. And then if you have any little seams, you want to get their creases, bubbles, whatever you want to call it, you want to get those out. And I did have a little issue with that center seam, I'll be honest with you, because that's not as, what word am I going to use? Gluey? Yeah, that's the word we're going to use. It's not as gluey as everything else. So I did have a little issue with that, but I'm going to show you how I fixed that too. We're going to do it again, same way. Only this time we're going to put it on the opposite. I'll just turn it around. Hey, there's a genius idea for you. I was wondering, how's I going to do that? Because I'm not that swift at trying to figure out how to do things in the opposite direction. Hopefully I'm not doubling up on it. It looks like I'm pretty close to getting it exactly the way I wanted it. Again, folding that piece down, creasing it so it stays, and taking my scissors and cutting off the excess. Oh, get off there, buddy. Now, if you end up, in my case, I don't have enough to go all the way to the edge of my paper. So what I'm going to do before I go any further, I think I'm going to trim that edge off a little bit. I'll show you. Because it's really nice when you use this carpet tape because you can see, before I take the backing off, you can see exactly where my problems are. Okay. First problem, you can see right there in the middle, there's a gap. So I'm going to have to make sure I put some other kind of gluey substance in there. And the other problem we're going to have is on this edge, we don't have anything gluey. So we're going to have to get rid of that edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this in my paper trimmer so that I can cut off just that extra little bit. Then our next step is our stencil. Now mine is from Stampendous. It's called Snowman Peeking. Of course that's what it's called. And it's FMS like in Sandy 4078. Hopefully you can see that number right there in case you need it and you want to order it. I think I got mine from eBay maybe. I could be making that up. But anyway, that's where I could have gotten it. Before I go any further, I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning on my stencil because it's kind of glittery. The next step will be we're going to need to take our backing off of our tear tape. And that should not be too tricky to do because, as you know, we stuck it to the back, so we could easily pull it off. And if mine doesn't want to come off, it's because it just wants to fight me. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take, what I did is when I took my backing off, I put it back on the two strips that I had flipped over the sides. Remember those two pieces? And then what you do next is I bought this from Sparkle and Sprinkle, and it's called Hawaiian Coconut Oil Soap. And what you're supposed to do with it is you're going to rub it on the back of your stencil. I'm going to slide this out of the way so you can watch me do this. You want to make sure that your stencil has a good coating on it, because what this is going to do is it's going to allow it to come off of the backing, so that that backing doesn't permanently adhere to our little metal stencil. Now, the one problem you will have with these stencils, and I'm going to tell you right now, is they are sharp. Sharp like in those gizmos that you shred cucumbers with, you know, that you just slide it back and forth on that machine. What's it called? A mandolin? I'm going with that. That's what it's called. Look it up and probably look up losing a finger on it, and you'll find probably a photo of this little fella, because these are super sharp. All these little lines here, they're super sharp. You do not want to hurt yourself on them. So I kind of stuck my fingernails and my fingers in here and tried to take off the extra little pieces of soap that come on the edges, because you don't want that soap. It's in your way. Get rid of as much of it as you can. So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your stencil where you like it on your paper. And I'm going to put mine really close to the bottom. Actually on the bottom, if I can line it up on the bottom in the middle. That looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to lay it down. And you want to make sure that it's attached to your background. It's important that it's attached. Okay, mine's attached. Then I started with an area I could control. You know that glitter spoon that we made all kinds of fun of? Oh yeah, that glitter spoon all of a sudden is the greatest thing I could have ever bought. And I am not kidding you. That glitter spoon is just the perfect size for this. Here it is, the Wonder Spoon. It's a glitter spoon. I know you're saying to yourself, how small could it be? That's how small it is. I was at Joann Fabrics today and I found this. It made me laugh. I had to buy it. That's a glitter funnel. Come on. Isn't that the greatest thing? Combination of a glitter spoon and a glitter funnel. I thought this would work good, like if I wanted to get into a little area. I don't know if I'll use that or not, but I do want to use it to put things back in their containers. So I'm going to use a variety of glitters. And my glitters are all by different manufacturers. Some of them, I know the names, some I don't. This is a Martha Stewart. This one is from Sparkle and Sprinkle. And then these two I think are Stampin' Up. Why do I say stamping? That's not right. Anyway, that's what we're going with so far. Then I want to do one more thing, and that is I'm going to get my little glue pen. This is from Tonic. I think it's called a Funky Glue Pen. I might be wrong. This is their Essentials. My Funky Glue Pen I think is a different color, green, or I don't know. And I'm just going to take it and I'm going to go right down that center seam. You remember where we had that little part where we just didn't have the lines meet up? Well, this is how we're going to fix that little problem. We'll just put a little glue there. That'll take care of it. Put my lid back on my glue. Next thing, the easiest way to do this is to have something very small that you can control your glitter with. I'm going to use a black glitter first, and we're going to do his mouth. And we are, in fact, going to use the glitter spoon. This is the moment you're going to get it to see it in action. And I'm only going to take that much, and I'm going to kind of sprinkle it in a few of them. And then I'm going to put the rest, I'm going to put as much into the spot as I need, and then use my finger to move it to the next part of his mouth. Then move it again. Of course, this doesn't work for other parts of him where you don't have that big of a gap between, let's say, the band of his hat and the next area of his hat. And every time you go to the next, what is that, coal that his mouth is? I think it's coal. You just want to make sure that you're moving as much glitter as you can and going from place to place. And then, after you're done with it, use your glitter spoon. Oh, I know you're thinking, wow, I wish I owned a glitter spoon. Yeah, we all made fun of it, and now all of a sudden it's the greatest thing I ever owned. I'm just going to push this around until I'm sure I have it in every one of these slots if I can. And then, because it's at the very bottom, I'm going to put it over my garbage can, and I'm going to blow it off. That way, we're going to get rid of as much of that black glitter as we can, so it doesn't interfere with the rest of our project. Now, let's see, I could do, I think I'll do his eyes and his eyebrow next, because I did those in black before too, and it went pretty fast. I know some of my viewers don't like it when I fast forward and they miss out on whatever crazy thing I'm saying to myself, and sometimes there's no point to let it run regular speed because I'm not talking. But I'll make sure, oh, that was bad. I'll make sure that Rich doesn't fast forward unless I'm not talking. That's why I said, oh, that was bad, in case you can't see that excess glitter that's now in the nose section. Darn it. I'm going to take my little brush, and I'm going to brush this over my garbage can away from the nose. Next step, I thought this time I would do red and green for his hat, make it a little bit more exciting, because the white all over wasn't as fun as I thought it would be. So I'm gonna this has a shaker on the top, which does make things a lot easier, to be honest. And then again, we're just moving everything with our finger. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in that center section. Don't put the tip of this in your glitter. You don't want that to happen. And I'll show you how I kind of made my way through that mess. If you have some of these these are called micro brushes, and they use them for, I think, nails, but this works really well for spreading this glue in the places that we need it to be placed. The other one I'm going to show you in a second. I found a really cool way of making that. I'm going to use the back of my brush for this part. I found a really cool way to layer the glitter, and it wasn't like I did on purpose, but it really came out cool, and I'll show you that. If you can see this background, the different colors, light blue, dark blue, light blue, dark blue, and a little bit of the white on the red, I did that by putting glue on here in areas where I didn't think that the glitter was sticking, so it ended up having really cool raised areas. I loved it. It's really textured and fun, and it was all by mistake. You gotta love it even more. It's better if you tap it into the center section and then move it with your finger away from the center, because otherwise you're not going to end up having the coverage where you want it, and you're going to end up having a few more problems with it going where you don't want it. Okay, make sure little spot. Doesn't want to play with me. It's bugging me. Okay, let's do our nose. And the nose I'm going to do in Fire Opal. It's the same color I used on the other nose. I really liked it. I was afraid it would be too yellow, but it's not. It's very, ooh, there's a lot that came out of that one, and that has a shaker. Don't know why. It's okay because everything around it is covered in glitter already, so it should just kind of wipe off. Really pat it in. You really want to, you're going to pat it in as hard as you can to make sure that your glitter adheres to that tape like that. I will tell you, the flatter you get that glue, like see that dot I have there, the more you rub that into the area, the better the better your results will be, because if you make it really, really high, you're going to end up having the taller area. You're going to have the dimension. And if you don't want that big dimension, don't make a big tall pile of glitter like I just did. Now we're going to go for green. And I just bought some autumn glitter from Joann's, and it had a bunch of greens. For some reason I didn't have any dark green. I thought I did, but I didn't. Okay, I'm going to tap this off into my garbage can. Okay, now to take this off, this is the hard part for me. You're going to slowly bend back the paper. Hopefully you can see me do this. You want to do it as slow as possible because you don't want to tear anything. Beautiful. Now, you're going to have this little problem when you're going to have a little bit of excess glitter where you don't want it. What I chose to do was pick a color that was a little bit darker or more vivid, like that blue in the sky, to use for that section. And here's what I used before. And I'm going to just put a piece of scrap paper under my entire project, because this is the one that we can put back in the bottle when we're done. Because the rest of this is pretty much attached to the background. I think I better do the white in his hat first. And I'm just going to use this. This is a Stampin' Up! Glitter. And this time I'm going to use my spoon because I'm going to do in between layers of his hat. If you'll recall, when you did the layers, when we played with this, the layers of his hat were pieces of metal. So the hat really is protected. So then when you get to this stage, you can just put in little scoops of your glitter so it makes your hat look like it's got a white line in it. Everywhere there is glitter already, this should not adhere to it. The other glitter should act like a resist and make it so you can't get that other glitter there. If we have to, we can always add more glue if we have areas where we're just not, if we're not, like in his forehead here, I've got this area where I have this green or blue or black. You can scrape at it. If that doesn't work, just add more glitter to it. That's what I've been doing anyway. I'm probably going to cut the edges off of my snowman here on the right side because I'm not all excited about the look of that. And then of course I'm going to cover up the little black spot he has on his forehead. He's got a little mole on his forehead. We're getting rid of it though. I don't think snowmen normally have moles on their foreheads, so we're going to get rid of that one. I'm going to flatten out that glue right there because I don't want a big glob on his head. I'm going to flatten out that one too. And we're going to just scrape a big pile of glitter on top of it. We'll probably be cutting off the edges, this right edge that has all of the different colors in it. In the meantime, I want to get all this white back in the bottle. Then we're going to go back to the blue. Now remember on the first one when I told you about all the spots on it that were blue and then darker blue? That's exactly what we're going to have on this one. We're going to have the areas that you can see right now that are like white. Those are going to end up being a darker blue. I'm going to make them like clouds because I want them to show up. I don't want them to be white. So let's finish off our snowman card. First thing I want to do is I did the Merry Christmas with a die, and it's in gold mirror paper. And I just want to put a little bit of wet glue on it. And hopefully we'll get this to be glued down in the inside of our card. Just putting a little bit of drops around the C for Christmas. Come on, buddy. I like using this mirror paper for die cuts because it's heavier duty and it really holds up. And then when you need to wipe it a little bit to get the glue off the front, that's not a problem either because it seems to wipe off easier than other glues too. I'm going to use this. It's almost a copper mirror paper. We're going to line our front of our card with this, and then our little snowman will be on top of this. And I'm going to put a little bit of wet glue on it because if it gets a little bit stuck, I can move it. You know, sometimes when you lay it down, you think, oh, that's perfect. I laid it exactly the spot I wanted it. And then you look at it again, and you go, wait a minute. That's not at all in the spot I wanted it. That wet glue will give you the time to move it. If you know what I mean. Because I don't know about the rest of you, but I have that happen from time to time. And again, wiping off the mirror paper of any kind of glue. And then I have my snowman, and I'm going to put him up on foam tape. Oh, fella. Let's see. That. So here is our snowman. I already stamped the back with my Made For You by Sandy Parker. And then on the inside we have Merry Christmas. So here are our two snowmen. I didn't think they were too difficult to make. I think they're a lot of fun actually, and I hope you did too. Please give this a thumbs up and subscribe. Tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.